welcome to Breckland Council's Cabinet meeting. It's Tuesday the 6th of May, it's 9:30, so we'll commence today's formal meeting. Item 1, the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 24th of March 2025 contain within pages 3 to 10 of colleagues' agenda pack. Can I take them as a true and accurate record?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Item 2, a bit of a change to our normal process. Somebody has contacted me who's apparently an avid watcher of us on YouTube and didn't know which role each one of the Cabinet members has. So item 2, I'll ask each one of the Cabinet members to introduce themselves and their portfolio, and then we'll take apologies from the clerk. So I'm Councillor Sam Chapman-Allen, leader of Breckland Council.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Suggett, the Deputy Leader and Executive Member for Planning and Housing.
Good morning, I'm Bill Borrett and I'm the Cabinet Member for Devolution and Local Government Reorganisation.
Thank you. So couldn't see Bill quite because we need the camera adjusting, but hey ho, I'm Paul Clausen and I'm the Cabinet Member for Growth and Economy.
Morning, Phil Cowan, I'm the Cabinet Member for Finance, Revenues and Benefits.
Good morning, I'm Tristan Ashby, I'm Portfolio Holder for Health and Communities.
Good morning, I am Helen Crane and I am Cabinet Member for Waste, Environmental Health, Licensing and Sustainability.
Good morning everybody, I'm Councillor Alison Webb, I'm Executive Member for Customers and Corporate Services.
And good morning, I'm Paul Hewitt, I am Executive Member for Property, Projects and Procurement.
Lovely, thanks all. So apologies for absence, please, Ben.
Thank you, Chairman. We've received no apologies.
Great stuff. We'll move on to item 3, any urgent business. I'm not aware of any. Item 4, declarations of interest. If any member of the council has any declarations they wish to make on any pertinent items today, please make us aware at that relevant item. Item 5, non-members wishing to address the meeting. As always, you are almost welcome to speak on any item of today's business. Chairman's announcements, I don't have any, so we'll move to item 7, which is Breckland funding. We'll commence with Councillor Tristan Ashby and then move to Councillor Paul Clausen, please.
Thank you very much, Leader. Good morning to everybody. With regards to the match funding, we had round 4 in recent weeks. I can confirm that we've provided £5,000 to Dereham Baptist Church to contribute towards staff costs and the running of the debt centre for a year. St Nicholas Hospice Care has received £5,000 to fund psychological support for adults who are dying or who have experienced the death of a loved one. Age UK Norfolk have received £5,000 to deliver the Later Life Companionship Project, which includes telephone befriending and travelling companionship for people in later life across the district. Meeting Point have received £5,000 to open the service for an additional day at the weekend. The Joe Dix Foundation have also received £5,000 to support the foundation's work in the district. We've also provided £5,000 to the Essex Cultural Diversity Project, the festival in Thetford. The Community Transport Scheme is now open for another year. And we funded Dereham Community Crafters and Ashhill Memory Cafe through the Spark Fund. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks Tristan. Any comments in relation to that? I've got Councillor Hewitt, please, and then Councillor Kybird.
Sam, just a big thanks to Tristan and his team. At a time when I think so many people feel like they are in despair, it is great that a district council is providing locally needed funding to local organisations who can provide such warmth, health and security in areas such as companionship, particularly for our older residents. Thank you so much for your team. I'm hoping that this type of announcement will be well publicised, as it should be, because this is standing up for Breckland and our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to, in particular, thank the funding to gain the Essex Cultural Diversity Project to provide the Festival of Thetford and the Punjab. This has been running since 2 or 3 years before COVID and is a significant event in the local calendar. It also ticks a lot of boxes with Arts Council England for the wider funding that the Norfolk Museum Service gets. So thank you very much.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Robert. If there's no further comments or questions, Tristan has been alluded. Thanks very much to you and your team. And this is the final announcement for that financial year. And the next round for year 2526 will open when, please?
Thanks, Leader. It's open now.
Super stuff. So make sure you get those bids in, speak to your local district councillor to get that support, but the application's all online with ourselves and Norfolk Community Foundation. So Councillor Clausen, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Yes, I'm delighted to announce that we have given our colleagues at the County Council, who will be working with us, to deliver another year of the Boost programme, which is part of our skills agenda. And that comes from the UK SPF fund, and it is for £111,550. And that's it. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Paul. Any questions or comments on that? Paul?
Sam, without kind of stating the obvious, Chisholm's reported much needed support for our vulnerable residents, and Paul has in turn reported a need to upskill all of our residents to ensure that not just this district but the wider county of Norfolk can continue to thrive. And I'm delighted that actually we are in a position to do that, because at the end of the day we want our district and our communities to thrive. Thanks, Paul.
Lovely, thank you. Move on to item 8 then, which is the Q4 2425 performance and projects, and I'll invite Councillor Webb to commence, please.
Good morning again, everybody. This report looks at the performance for Q4. In Q4, the majority of our key performance indicators are at or near target. There are a couple of specific areas I'd like to highlight within the report. Firstly, our leisure participation over the last 12 months. In the last year, we have seen over 700,000 entries to our leisure sites. This is the highest we've ever seen in the post-COVID years. The reason I've highlighted this is that this shows our continued recovery in this area, which will increase further with the new 3G football pitch almost completed in Thetford, and the project to enhance leisure facilities in Attleborough progressing well. Q4 has, however, seen some challenging performance around days taken to process housing benefits and council tax changes and claims. This has been impacted by an increase in workload due to the number of migration notices issued as claims move forward across to a universal credit. As the caseload reduces, we are left with more complex temporary and supported accommodation claims to process. Further information can be found within the report annex on this. The other area I want to highlight is standards complaints, which we have previously discussed here. I'm happy to say that we have achieved 100% in Q3 and Q4 as a result of internal changes to the processes we've made more efficient. Members will also note that 2 indicators are flagged as red within the report. Both of these relate to ARP, which has its own performance monitoring report in addition to this through their joint committee. To give members some additional assurance, ARP has managed to meet its monthly targets in recent months. But because they were outside of the targets for the main part of the year, the average will not catch up until this year, or will not catch up this year. However, this is obviously disappointing to miss targets in the area, but it does highlight the fact that we believe we are heading in the right direction. As we've previously discussed, much of the challenges in this area are driven by the external demand around the number of requested changes and the transition to universal credit. I will now hand over to Councillor Hewitt to cover projects. Thank you.
Thanks, Alison. Once again, I'm pleased, Sam, to report and colleagues the successful delivery of some key projects over the last quarter. In Q4, we were able to formally close a project that saw us purchase some 15 properties using funding from the Local Authority Housing Fund. These properties are being used to support households that require temporary accommodation in the district and creates a cost avoidance of over £70,000 per year. We've also completed now the Healthy Homes project, something that I know Councillor Suggett was very close to your heart, which addressed issues of damp and mould in the private rental sector. This project saw us engage with residents to help them understand their rights, and as a result, we saw a 35% increase in the number of damp and mould cases being reported. We also work with landlords to provide sufficient effective solutions to these issues. Q4 also saw us launch a new food waste service for local businesses in the light of new legislation, and I'm delighted to report, with the help of Councillor Crane and her team, that by close of Q4, we'd already seen an uptake from 44 businesses, well above both plan and target. Finally, since the time of writing this report, and as Councillor Webb has already mentioned, we have already received tender submissions in relation to the Attleborough Leisure Centre project, and will be looking to appoint a new contractor in Q1. Talks, as Councillor Webb has also said, are progressing well with regards to a funding application to construct a new 3G football pitch as part of that project. Along with Councillor Webb, we are happy to take any questions members may have before we pass over to Councillor
Cowan. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much, Alison. So you will have seen that there are two red items on that performance, and Alison has already indicated that the direction of travel is in the right direction. And if I just draw your attention to page 22, which is the Anglia Revenues Partnership paper, which is item 9 on this agenda, you will read there exactly why the council tax reduction scheme and the benefits payments have been slightly lagging behind. There has been a significant increase of workload as a result of the migration through the DWP system to universal credit. That's something which is outside of Anglia Revenues Partnership's control. It is something which DWP are managing, but through changing work practices and use of AI and automated systems, the team at Anglia Revenues are able to pull back the length of time it's taking to deliver those particular claimants. There is concern as we look ahead that this situation may just become slightly worse as more and more people migrate over to universal credit, but the systems that we have now in place are designed to speed up the processing of those. And I'd also like to just draw your attention to the business rate collection, which doesn't really come into this particular form, but we are well ahead with our business rate collection. And ironically, when we look at the life of businesses in Breckland, we're not seeing business failures at the moment, which are being apparent elsewhere in the country. We're actually seeing an increase in our business rate take. I would also just at this moment in time sound a note of caution, because we've talked in the past about business rate reset. And business rate reset is something that central government likes to impose on district councils in particular across the country. We've been very successful here in Breckland, as you will appreciate from previous reports, where our business rate take has been significantly increasing year on year on year. Regrettably, the government has announced that there will be a business rate reset in 2026, and as a result, we will see our business rate take reduce by about £2 million a year. We can obviously offset that by continuing to attract more business, because the volume goes up, then the business rate take goes up. And at the same time, the renewable business rate income that we receive is not split between county and district. Districts receive 100% of the renewables, provided that those green energy projects are not classed as national infrastructure projects. So we can see some light on the horizon, which may well mitigate against some of those reductions that we see. But I thought at this moment in time, it's just worth flagging that up. Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks, Phil. Any questions or comments in relation to the Q4? Paul, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Not wanting to look into the past overly much, but I think it's worthwhile reminding ourselves what we're looking at here with ARP, because when Breckland had ARP on its own, before ARP was formed, we were taking over 100 days for change of circumstance. So if you look at the red figures here now, they are well under 10 days. So I think we need to have an understanding of where we've come from and where we are at. And I've completely got the reassurance from you, Phil, that you and the team at ARP are well aware of what's going on, and you have all of the facilities to make sure that that turns to green in the very near future. Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks, brilliant. Any other questions? Just a couple of questions from me. Paul, on the project dashboard, some of those are now closed. How are you and the team working through what the next set of projects will be, using any existing capacity, if any at all? And for Alison, obviously this is the final performance report for 2425. Has the Overview and Scrutiny Commission sat yet to decide what their target and review will look at for 2526, and anything in particular of interest for them?
Thanks, Sam. I mean, firstly, from a projects team, we are in a constant state of pivoting, if I may say, bearing in mind the changes at the moment to the whole of the council structure and setup, both now and moving forwards. We've taken on some additional work in terms of the local plan. We've taken on some additional work in terms of some of the other challenges that the council will be facing over the next, well, 2 to 3 years. But at the same time, the whole team is tasked to be both supporting council officers in terms of the other issues that are taking place, and at the same time ready to take on yet more work, because at the end of the day, it's the project team that will be delivering on most of these challenges that the council is facing moving forwards.
Thank you, Sam. I'm going to hand over to Ryan because he obviously knows more than I do on this one.
Thanks for your question, Councillor. So in terms of overview and scrutiny, we're due there in June, so we'll obviously get feedback in terms of how we've done over the past year. In terms of when we're bringing this Q1 report forward, we're currently looking at benchmarking and whether there's any targets we need to tighten for the year ahead. With regards to the KPIs themselves, there's not loads we're probably looking to change this year. There might be 1 or 2 in relation to, obviously there's changes within communities and housing, but that will come forward as part of the Q1 report. This has obviously been a multi-year process we've done in terms of putting these new key performance indicators in. So for the year ahead, we'll be in a position where all of them should now have targets moving forward. So that will be sort of this year's reviewing process.
Brilliant, thank you very much, and well done to you for running the London Marathon in under 3 hours. 2:59. Well done indeed. Very, very impressive. Good, if there are no further questions then, that's for us. Oh, sorry, Councillor Kyburd.
Thanks, Jim. As regards target indicators for planning, I note that a number of our major applications, such as Kingsfleet, the detail is dealt with by a series of reserved matters applications, but that's not something we monitor, the timescales on reserved matters. Is that correct, or does this do the statistics include reserved matters applications?
I don't know. I will get back to you on that and written form. Those members here today, obviously, our KPIs for across the authority go into their hundreds. The dashboard, which Councillor Webb and Ryan work for, are those areas of interest and where we need to drive performance and improvement. And we hope by working with the Commission, we can encourage them to look at the same type of performance indicators which Cabinet looks at. But in relation to that specific, that wouldn't be on this dashboard, but I will find out where that sits so that you have an understanding of the monitoring and performance on that. If there are no further questions then, thank you very much. We'll move on to item 9 then, which is the Anglia Revenues and Benefits Partnership. You've heard a lot already from Councillor Cowan on this, but anything else, Phil, in relation to these minutes?
Yes, if I can, please. We're in straitened times, as we've heard already this morning, and I think it's incumbent on us as the District Council, as the holders of responsibility for ensuring that people pay their way where they have an obligation. And you will see from the ARP report that our enforcement team is seeing increased performance. So we've increased by 37% over this time last year our claims for sorting out people with fraudulent claims. We're very serious about this particular aspect of the business we do. You know, this is not a blue collar or white collar crime. It is a crime not to actually pay your way and expect others to pick up the tab. And we're doing very well there, as you can see from the report. I just wish to highlight that. And in fact, we've gained additional business from Malden in Essex as well, who have asked us to carry out that work for them. And the other thing just to point out is that ARP is, as we are, in a continuously changing environment. And the team there are very, very keen to ensure that as much automation as possible can be implemented, because by automating systems, they can speed systems up and we can avoid unnecessary dialogue and communication which may break down. And you'll see there under the customer experience section in the report that the Contact Us form, which has been developed, is proving very successful. So we now have 73% of all our contacts automatically indexed, and that relieves a huge amount of pressure and enables us to focus where those direct face-to-face contacts are needed much more effectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions in relation to ARP? No, that's just a note then. So we move on to item 10 then, which is the date of the next meeting will be on Monday, the 23rd of June, 2025, 10 a.m. here in Elizabeth House, Dereham. I now formally close the meeting. Thank you very much indeed.